Hello everybody, welcome to a new special that we're doing now for the ITK soccer show. My name is Dan, I'm sure a lot of you know that. So what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be previewing and looking a lot on the upcoming World Cup in Russia. So like, comment, share, whatever you want to do with the video, take a look at it anyway. You might learn something you didn't know before. It's always good to have football discussions. And we'll take it from there. So let me know how you like the video, and we'll get started. So I think the best place obviously to start is Group A, and we'll start with the people who will be running the show, Russia, the hosts. So looking at the Russians at the moment, they're very much a side who are in a lot of they're never really going to meet the max of what they were, say, 10 years ago at the Euros. They won't be near that level. I think they're an aging team. They're very strong. They're physical, but that's all you're really going to get with them. Like, their key player is still probably their goalkeeper, Akinfeev. Plays for CSKA Moscow. Very experienced. He's a very good goalkeeper, but it's not the Euros. He's either really good or he's not so great. So it's one of those things that he's their captain and they do rely on him, but the young players aren't coming through to match these guys that they've had, and it is really the end of an old guard. Like, they've got Sergei Ignacevic. People might know him. He's been in a lot of World Cups and Euros. He's 38. He actually had retired from Russia national team, but now he's come back. And what he's doing is there was an injury at centre half, and he's actually been drafted back in. There's also Vitaly and Andrei Berezutski have since retired since the last Euros. So they really have a shortage of centre halves, and if they're relying on a 38-year-old to come back in, you know, that's really shows where there is an issue. They do have a few good players going forward. Alan Zhagoev is probably the best player, also for CSKA. What he does, he's a creative midfielder. He can play the right, left, even the centre. He's by far their best player. Surprisingly, never really got a move to a good team in Europe, see what he can do. But he's kind of just never really progressed his career. And the way it is in those Russian leagues, they're kind of CSKA kind of win most years, and that's it. But he's actually a pretty good player. But again, I don't know if he's the players that you can actually play with. Denis Cheryshev is a good player who would probably play in the wing. He came through the Real Madrid academy and was with Seville, Valencia. He's back with Villarreal now, and he's a decent player. He's a wide man. He's tricky. He's good, but again, there's not much really else going for them. They've got Artem Zhuba up front. A lot of them, people would have seen him mainly against England in the last Euros. He's 6'5", 6'6". He's a big guy up front. He's kind of like an Andy Carroll, except he doesn't even use his physique the way he should. He'd be probably the main man for trying to score goals. You know, he's played a lot of his career at Zenit St. Petersburg, so you might have seen him in some of the Europa League and stuff like that. He's big up front. That's about it. That's all they have. They don't have much really. As I mentioned earlier, like, there is a shortage really of centre halves with the Berezutski twins leaving, and obviously Ignacevic back in. That is a major issue. Yuri Zhirkov is still in the squad. He's 38 now, or sorry, 34, excuse me. And like, he was good with Chelsea, but that was 10 years ago again. So they're not replacing the players like Andrei Arshavin. There's no one really there to take his mantle. Alexander Anyukov was a good right back they had. He did very well against Ireland in qualifying for Euro 2012. Causes a lot of problems, especially in that famous game in Moscow. Again, he's 35, 36 now. Didn't make the squad. A good player they do have is actually banned. Igor Denisov. He's falling out with the manager, and as long as the manager is there, they said he won't have anyone in that team. So that's just the way it is with him, you know. So there's not much else really we can do with that one. So they've got limited resources. They'll probably play 5 at the back. They'll probably play long ball. They'll probably be strong, physical. They qualified as the host, so there's no real games you can really look at them on in terms of how well it could do, how well they're not going to do. They didn't do great in the Confederations Cup last year. They only beat New Zealand 2-0, and they lost both to Portugal and Mexico. So I think they have an aging team. They're not replacing their old players. I hope the referees call things down the middle. That would be one issue. but they must beat Saudi in the World Cup opener. They have to beat them if they've any chance. To be honest, I think they'll finish third in the group. They'll probably beat Saudi Arabia, but I can't see them beating Uruguay or Egypt. Bring me on to Egypt now. Really, there's only one man. The main man for them is Mo Salah. There's obviously a few other good players. Akram Hegazi plays for West Brom. El Neni, he's given number 4 jersey with Arsenal, so Unai Emery must fancy him. And Ramadan Sobi did play for Stoke. Good, tricky wide man. But again, though, for Stoke City, he's got a medical with Huddersfield at the moment. So that's maybe his standard. But again, would they be buying him if he was no good? Maybe not. But again, the big key thing is a lot of the players, especially for Saudi Arabia and a lot for Russia, they're not playing at a high standard. If they're even playing in the Premier League, that's good enough. And it might get them through the group. They've got a very experienced manager in Hector Cooper. Is their manager. He's managed Valencia, Inter Milan and Parma, so he has been around the block, especially in Italy. He's very experienced, but probably a bit pragmatic. Could be an issue with Egypt in this because, like, they would be a team who would probably play 2 or 3 defense midfielders. They try and hold the game, counter-attack, but the group that they're in, it's not that strong. And at the end of the day, if they can go and take the game to the Saudis and take the game to the Russians, I think they'll beat them. They have enough firepower. You can't have Salah defending. He has to be on the front foot all the time. So obviously it depends a lot about how Salah's fitness is, how they get on. But if Salah's somewhat even near fit after his shoulder injury, the tackle with Ramos, he'd be good enough to bring them through this group, because it isn't a great group, to be honest. It's their first World Cup since 1990, and we all know Ireland played them in the infamous Eamon Dunphy throwing of a pen. So they were very pragmatic in that. They got a 0-0 against us, but they've actually got some firepower now with Salah, arguably the most formed player on the planet. So it'd be good to see if at least he can do something at this level, because he did fire them to the World Cup. He was the main man. He got 5 goals in qualifying. He was the top scorer in the whole African qualifying campaign. They'll probably play 4-2-3-1, I'd say. Sobi and Salah will probably play off striker. Again, they're good enough to go through. And an interesting fact as well, their captain, Essam Haldari, is their goalkeeper. He's actually 45 years old, and he will become the oldest player to play at the World Cup. If you remember in the last World Cup, Farid Mandragon came on for Colombia for 5 minutes against Japan. It was a token gesture to put him on. He was 43 years old. It was his last ever game. And he thought he'd have the record, but looks like this guy's probably going to break it because he is captain. I presume they will probably finish second in the group, but they'll probably get Portugal or Spain in the next round. It will be tough, but I think it's a good achievement for an African team. They are the best African team. They've got the most African Cup nation wins. And they've got a few good players, so let's hope they can do it. And I think it'd be great to see Salah really coming alive at a big stage, you know, because he was so good this year in the Premier League. The big team, really, I think I will win the group, be Uruguay. Obviously, they've got amazing partnership up front with Suarez and Cavani. Like, they must have scored probably up to about 70-80 goals between them this season. Diego Godin is their leader at the back, unbelievable centre half. And Jose Jimenez is also plays for Atletico Madrid alongside Godin, and he's the long-term successor for him. And they're going to get it right in both penalty boxes. They're going to score goals, and they're going to defend well. Maybe a little bit of lack of creativity in the midfield, but what they'll do in midfield, they'll kick you, they'll punish you. They're dogged. They're just workhorses in midfield. And what they can do is they will give any single team in the World Cup a game. And I honestly mean that. They're not going to get stuffed by anyone, I don't think. They did lose, however, 4-1 to Brazil in qualifying home, but I think that was a bit more of a freak game. I don't think it will happen again. I think that these guys are so street, and they'll kick you. They'll be so strong to try and beat, because, like, at the end of the day, if you get it right in both penalty boxes, which they will, they're so experienced. Like, if you look at Suarez, Cavani, Muslera, the goalkeeper, Godin, Caceres, Maxi Pereira, Christian Rodriguez, they've all got over about 70-80 caps. A lot of them are actually over 100 as well. They're one of the most experienced teams in the tournament. I'm not including their manager as well. Oscar Tabarez, he's managed them for 12 years. He's actually had more games as international manager than any manager in the tournament as well. So that's massive. They know the familiarity. They know what they're doing. They're probably reaching the end of their golden age. What they have, obviously, Forlan isn't there anymore. People like that, but they're still. I think they're well worth definitely top in this group. But you know, no one want to face these guys. Definitely, and they've won it twice. I was back in the 30s, but they came fourth in 2014 as well. So I wouldn't write these guys off. They'll be lethal in attack and they'll be sound at the back. They knocked England out in the last World Cup. Suarez wasn't even fit. Scored 2 goals. Cavani was top scorer in the South American qualifying, which is pretty good considering the attack. It was like Aguero, Messi, Higuain, Neymar, Jesus, Firmino, and he topped all that. One issue would be probably Suarez' discipline. We know what happened last time the World Cup. He bit Chiellini, and once he was gone, then they didn't have much. So it's imperative that they keep Suarez and Cavani at the top of the field and the 2 lads at the back. And obviously, if they can keep that spine of the team, it's exceptionally strong. And as I said, it'll be very, very difficult to beat. The guys at the back, Jimenez and Godin, they played together at Atletico Madrid. They're Atletico probably the best defensive team in Europe, along with Juventus. And those 2 guys have been doing it for years, and they're excellent. They're really a joy to watch. They'll definitely top Group A. And to be honest, if you toss up between them, Spain and Portugal, you'd imagine Spain and Portugal, they're a weak enough group that they'll top their groups anyway. But I think they can definitely beat Portugal. I don't know if they beat Spain, but they'd be very close. You'd find their chances anyway. They won't lie down for anyone. And they're a decent each way bet to get far anyway. I'd watch out for them anyway. I think everyone kind of likes Uruguay as well. The final team are Saudi Arabia. Now, to be honest, I don't know much about these. If you look at any video or people talking about them, they're probably lying, or they don't know what they're talking about, or they've just copied someone who actually does. I know only 2 players in the whole league are in the team play outside the Saudi Arabian league, and they go play in La Liga. I don't know much about them at all. They finished behind Japan in qualifying and finished ahead of Australia to finish second. Odds are probably about 2,000 to 1. I'd say they're probably the least known team in the tournament. They're probably the biggest outsiders and arguably the weakest team in the competition as well. So I really don't know much about them. But the 2,000 to 1 odds probably gives you, a fair reflection of what they are. So they'll probably be the whipping boys, but again, they'll probably put 11 men behind the ball and hope for the best. Again, they've got Russia first. If they think they can get a result there, and then hopefully, Suarez bites Salah and they're both out or something mad happens. But again, I think it'll be coming out of this group. Uruguay will top it, and Egypt will be second. Russia will be third, and Saudi Arabia will be fourth. Anyway, that concludes Group A prediction. Like, comment, share, whatever you think of the video, and let me know. Thank you.